Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
Welcome to Monday Night Live. We have a great guest teacher tonight, Joe Mendoza, who I met through the podcast effort. Many of you know we don't just broadcast, invite people to a podcast. We select them. We have a virtual assistant who does research and finds agents and brokers and team leaders who've built a strong presence. Hopefully you have done some investing. It's not necessary, but it helps and has expansion plans. And Joe fits all three. We did the podcast, and it was like two peas in a pod, man. So I said, if you don't mind, Joe, I'd love to have you come teach. So, Joe, welcome aboard. We're so glad to have you from beautiful Southern California.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me here and such amazing people, beautiful faces I see. And if you want to turn on your cameras, get it more interactive, that would be awesome. If you're multitasking, no big deal. But yeah, I'm excited, Gary. I'm super, super excited. One of my big passions is just like Tony Robbins, the secret to living is giving. And that's a big part of why I'm here. I know what Gary's up to, and yeah, I'm all on board. So thank you so much, Gary.
You got it. So, well, let's go ahead and get started. If you could, maybe give people a little bit of backstory, like how did you get to where you are, what you're doing now? Clearly, you're passionate about it. I mean, it comes out loud and clear in the podcast. I knew right away you were doing what you were meant to do. But let's let people know how you actually got there, and then we can get into the presentation.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. So I grew up in Southern California, 5 miles from the Tijuana border. My dad was in the Navy. And so from Hawaii, he transferred over in about 1983. So I was a fifth grader, came to San Diego, went to elementary school, and I'll fast forward this a little bit. Throughout my life, he kept telling me, you got to be rich, you got to be rich. And I had no clue till I started getting older. I started to learn about real estate. And then one time towards my senior year of high school, I was down the street playing ball with one of my friends, and one of my uncles said, hey, you know what? I've got a couple tickets to this event. Are you interested? I go, well, what's it about? He goes, it's about real estate. And the antennas went up. I got really interested. And lo and behold, those two tickets were Robert Allen. And Robert Allen, I got to see him live here in Chula Vista in California. And I was fired up. I mean, everything he said really pumped me up. Who knows who Robert Allen is? Raise your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, only a handful. Well, he's one of the OGs. There you go, Dutch. He's one of the OGs of investing in real estate. And it was at that moment that I knew I was all in, and I jumped right in. I felt this little voice, you guys kind of sometimes get it, this hallucination in my head said, you're too young. And it was one of those things where, like, I said, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get some classes. I'm going to get my license. And so I'll be a little more credible. And so I was in high school attending Southwestern College, taking some real estate courses. And I was pursuing the 3 classes here you need in California to get your license. And I went for it. And unfortunately, the market at the time was going south, very much like it is today. However, I didn't know any better. And the folks that are newer to the group, if you think that the market's kind of shaky and slipping down a slope where it might be bad, it's actually good. Okay. Yeah. Because on an investor mindset, when like Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. There are a lot of people that are fearful, but this is a time, folks. This is a time, ladies and gentlemen, to get really, really excited. And hopefully I could share some wisdom today that will get you more fired up about real estate.
Awesome. Hey, by the way, real quick, guys. So Robert Allen, by the way, Joe, Robert Allen probably maybe 10 years ago built a new massive, beautiful mansion, probably not too far from you. I think more closer to this down towards San Diego. But he also, guys, one of my first books I've ever read was from Robert Allen. And the story was he had went to some town. He said, just drop me any town, anywhere USA, with no ID, no money, no anything. And he said, I'll own a house within a week or, well, maybe it was 2 days or something. I forget what it was, Joe, but just in a true story, just phenomenal how he did it, but you're thinking, this is the guy I want to listen to. So a lot of the other gurus were mentored by Robert Allen. So a lot of people hear about today, you can trace it all the way back to Robert Allen,
I 100% agree. So some of you are more familiar nowadays with Grant Cardone, Undercover Billionaire. Very similar story, very similar strategy where Robert Allen, exactly what Gary said. I remember it clearly. And he put it on newspaper. He talked on television, put me anywhere, drop me anywhere with $2 in my pocket or something like that. And then, yeah, he tore it up. So yeah, I'm gonna drop some gold from way back almost 30 years ago where it led me up to the where I am today.
Okay. So guys, any
Awesome.
questions before Joe starts this? He's got a slideshow to show you, slide deck. So with questions, my suggestion would be to type them in the chat box, and then Andre and I will look for strategic breaking points, like breaking in the subject to keep up with your questions. Okay, but type them in as you think of them. Okay. That,
Yeah, I'm gonna
is that
jam
right, Joe?
pack about 30 years worth of
Yeah.
knowledge, experience, books, training, you name it. I've been to almost just about every boot camp out there. I've trained, mentored, been in masterminds with some of the greats out there. I paid in upwards of 25, 35,000 for masterminds and trainings. And there's a lot. I mean, a lot of these gurus you've seen out there, I've hung out with them, I mastermind with them, I learned a ton. So in this next hour or so, I'm going to jam pack as much as I could to help you learn and take away some amazing things from it. And I will put the slide deck here. You could feel free to take pictures. And Gary, you give me the green light, I'll start sharing if you're good.
Yeah, you should be promoted to co-host. You should be. I'm not sure if you're on a Windows or a Mac, but
Okay. I
should
will
have
go
the should have.
ahead and get
Okay.
it going here. So if you guys could see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. And all
Yep.
right, perfect, perfect. All right, so how to scale your real estate career. Again, feel free to take slides of this. I'm sure Gary's going to be posting it multiple different places, but you're here live and interacting with me. So yeah, if you want to stop me, feel free to stop me. Okay. So, quick disclaimer, I always put this right in the beginning, Gary. You know that it's
Mhm.
CYA. Cover your assets, okay, with a T. So,
Mhm.
I'm not an attorney, tax pro, or anything like that. Feel free. You guys have your own professionals. If I say anything that's kind of questionable, feel free to reach out to your professionals, okay? There is my direct cell phone number. Feel free to take a picture of that, take a scan of that QR code. It'll lead you directly to my contact information. So go ahead and take a snapshot or write that down. And it's 619-246-HOME, HOME. So who is Joe Mendoza? I'm a California licensed broker since 1998. As I mentioned, I took the classes when I was in high school. And over 25 years. I didn't become a broker till after college, and that's when I actually decided to really pursue it. I'm a worldwide advisor coach to over 1,000 entrepreneurs, trained one-on-one over the past 12 years. Some of you know the name Tom Ferry. I am one of his coaches. I've been coaching for Tom for 12 years. He personally coached me and mentored me, and he still does so today. I'm super fired up about the wisdom he shares. I'm also a real estate investor, as Gary Wilson mentioned. I do have a pretty decent sized portfolio. I love storage, multifamily. I do have some single family. I'm a LP and a GP in multiple storage facilities. Let's connect on social, ladies and gentlemen. You've probably seen that one, Coach Joe Mendoza. That's hashtag. There's a lot of Joe Mendozas out there, so I just put Coach there to make it simple, easy for a lot of people to remember. Commercial Real Estate Investor Club. I'll talk a little bit about that later. And YouTube. I have tons and tons and tons of video on YouTube. And I started my journey, believe it or not, 14 years ago. And I am a firm believer of ready, fire, aim versus ready, aim, fire. So if you see some of my videos, you'll probably crack up because done is better than perfect. And I did a lot. So take a look at that.
Mhm.
This is my social media picture, book, podcast. This is probably the profile you've seen on LinkedIn and everywhere else. That amazing picture was in Maui. I love the islands. Like I said, before I came to California, I was in first grade to fifth grade on the islands. That's my book. You can find that on Amazon. And I talk about from going from a single family home where you could house hack it and then multiply, folks. That is a way to go. Back in the early 2000s, I had about $9 million worth of property. A lot of them were single family. And that was a lesson learned that if you really, really want to have that passive income, live financially free, and have all the time freedom in the world, start getting more into commercial real estate, multifamily, retail, diversify your portfolio. All right, so this slide here, guys, is a real quick summary. If you take a picture of this, this is your career, okay? I started part-time. So I had a day job and I had a 9-to-5 job, and I did real estate as an agent part-time. I wasn't so sure if I was going to make it. I wasn't sure if I was even interested in being an agent. So I did it part-time from like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I just did a lot of phone calls. And that's how I made a name for myself in real estate. Some of you start as a solo agent, a part-time agent, but then you eventually graduate to being a top agent because you really want to make a name for yourself, be a competitive person you might be, and be a top agent. Then you become a team agent, which you definitely should start hiring admin and a sales team. And some of you might become a broker owner already, a broker owner or investor. Then eventually you get to number 5, which is sell, retire, or pass it on. And this is truly the journey. Some of you are right in the midst of things. Some of you might be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm not sure, but this is what it's all about today, hopefully to re-inspire you or fire you up even more to get on to bigger, better things like number 3, 4, 5. Here is a fast track, ladies and gentlemen. The fast track to real estate. These are the main pillars I would concentrate on the most. And what a pillar is basically is, diversify your lead generation, hire an assistant, diversify your revenue. Soon as you start making commissions, I would encourage you to buy property, buy businesses, invest in other different vehicles that'll create that big nest egg for yourself. Leverage your team and systems. These are the pillars that I meant to say about mastery. Open houses, phone, door prospecting, serving, and 10xing your database. When I first started in real estate, one of my mentors said, hey, get to 1,000 names and just make sure you do multiple touches. If some of you are in Keller Williams, you know all about touches, but I would say mail, email, phone. Mail, email, phone, but I would also include text and social media, DM, direct messages. Some of you are not properly serving your database, but I'll tell you what, your income is in direct proportion to the level of service you're providing. And if your income is here, you got to increase the level of service to make your income grow. Farm domination. If some of you have kids or not planning to move and you're shopping, going church and what have you, I say you work your farm and start it really, really small, maybe 100 homes or 500 homes and expand from there. And then again, social media. Some of you have this little fear that I'm afraid of what I look like or sound like or whatever, but I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, if you're coming from that place of service and you're wanting to add value, content is contribution. Content is contribution. If you're adding value, who cares what you look like, what you're dressed like, whatever, you're adding value like I am hopefully today, that somebody will take something away. And if you're putting, hey, the market is going like this, the absorption rate is this, the vacancy is this, you're becoming that market expert, they will remember that. And then when they're ready to sell, ready to buy, it's a slam dunk. You're already doing the interview on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. When they see you, it's like, okay, let's go ahead and sign that buyer broker agreement. Let's go ahead and sign that listing agreement. Okay. I'm a big believer of KISS. Who knows what KISS stands for? You could type it in the chat. Keep it simple, silly. Okay. Some of you might use the other word. I'm a big believer of keep it simple, silly. Master 1 to 3 maximum of those pillars that I just shared. Don't dabble, because dabblers get destroyed. Dabblers truly get destroyed. Yes, keep it simple, silly. Jack of all trades, master of none. That is so true. You go to one of these real estate events, you get fired up, then all of a sudden you hear, okay, TikTok's the latest and greatest, or LinkedIn's the latest and greatest strategy, or mailers, or open housers, or whatever. I would say pick 1 to 3 and go deep. Some of you are playing at the surface level where, oh, I tried video. You tried 1 or 2. I tried mailers. I tried, a couple hundred mailers. There's a strategy, a system, way to do all of them, whether it's mailers or phone calls or whatever. I'll tell you what, one day I was phone prospecting, right? You saw that was one of my pillars. And I prospected from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. 9 in the morning till 9 at night. Yeah, 12 hours. And guess how many appointments, if somebody wants to put it on the chat, how many appointments did I get? How many leads? 12 hours prospecting nonstop, only to take, a break here and there, no long lunch. Zero. So it wasn't my effort that was a problem. It was my skill that was a problem. Okay. I realized what I was saying, how I was closing was way off base. And so luckily I had a coach, a mentor, somebody like Gary, listen to my recording, tell me what I was doing wrong, saying, hey, I'm not closing enough. I'm going off script. I'm not smiling. People could hear that over the phone. And really it changed from going, my closing ratio was probably 30 something percent at the time. It went up to 90+% because I really worked on my scripts. So some of you, it's not a lack of effort. It's a lack of skill. And so I want you to remember that you need to go ahead and work on your skill as well. Okay. If you need more listings, find people who need to sell. Stop chasing those who want to, but don't need to. And here's what I mean. Some of you have dealt with sellers that think that their property, their home, is the best property on the street. They're so prideful about their property. And you even brought them offers. And guess what? They're not accepting. And so what I would say is find people that need to sell. And what do I mean by that? Death, divorce, distressed property. Okay. Those people need to sell. And if you pay attention what's going on out there, I coach all over the nation from coast to coast and in several different countries. And what I've noticed is in some parts of the country, distressed properties are way up. Way up. And so if you don't know what's going on, you need to find out those stats and figure that out, because what I say, where there's adversity, there's opportunity. Where there's adversity, there's opportunity. Okay. Some of these folks will not want a foreclosure on their record. They don't want a foreclosure. So what do? You're going to bring them an offer. You're going to market their home. You're going to salvage their credit. Okay. Those are people that need to sell. They don't want to sell, but they need to sell. Find those people. And here's an easy way how. Okay. Data makes a difference. You could try this website, findhiddendeals.com. I am an affiliate, and there's a 7-day free trial where you could try it out. And you could see, if you look on YouTube, like I mentioned, I do have some other videos out there. I do full-on walkthrough on the system, and it'll help you find distressed property, divorce, probate, all those different properties that I said that they need to sell. And here's where we jump into where on the slide earlier, where I think a lot of agents get stuck. Okay. This is a part where we really get into scaling. Okay. So take plenty of notes, and you could pop some questions in the chat. I'll take a quick break if somebody wants to ask a question before I jump into the next topic, because that was more on lead gen, because I know some of you, you just need to get paid. So anybody have a quick question? We could take a quick break before I jump into the nitty-gritty of scaling.
Yeah, go ahead and type them in, guys. I'm going to make a few comments here. First of is, Joe, I just want to thank you for it was number 3 on the slide, which is serve your database. And we've been preaching that, I mean, weekly since the beginning of the year. This was our year. I just committed that, you know what? I'm not even going to have anybody do any paid marketing, paid advertising until their database is loaded with all their contacts. They're all receiving at least a market update on a regular basis and they're receiving regular phone calls. Because that's, again, I don't even know how to emphasize it, guys, but any more than this is you've now heard it from at least the 4th person this year, other than me as a guest teacher, who brought it up all by themselves. I did not suggest to Joe that he bring that up. He did it on his own because he knows he's a pro. He knows how to produce commissions. He knows how to get results. And he emphasized the database, guys. I talked to another agent today who had not worked on their database yet. And here it is, literally the end of June. And I'm being nice about it. I'm telling you, if you want to earn commissions, you have to load and serve your database. I don't care if you know 20 people, put them in there. It's going to grow. Use Really Flow. We'll talk about that another time. Help it grow. In any case, I just want to bring that up, Joe, and also the private messaging. Still today, not just me, Joe, but I have 2 virtual assistants. We collectively put out there anywhere from 10 to 30 private Facebook messages and text messages, and they're personal. We don't do the broadcast stuff. We're very selective, very specific, and we're getting more results than we've ever had before from any other kind of advertising and marketing. Just doing those 2 things, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And remember this, folks. If you're not serving your database, guess who is? Your competition, right? So you need to make sure you're in front of them as often as possible. They know you, they like you, they trust you. You already jumped over the biggest hurdles. Now they're just looking to decide if they want to do business with you. The other person who doesn't know them, doesn't like them, doesn't trust them, those are 3 hurdles. You already got 3 hurdles you jumped over. Now you just got to remind them, hey, I'm in business, I'm real estate. Just keep touching them, okay? Mail, email, phone, text, DM. Make sure you're greeting them on their birthdays, their anniversary. You see them on social, reach out. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into the heavy. And this is the heavy for sure, because in my 12 years of coaching, a lot of people get stuck right here. And sometimes they get stuck a few months, sometimes a few years. Okay. If you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. Okay. And I want you to remember that. What is your problem? Sometimes you have this limiting belief or this hallucination, not enough time, lack of skills. You're doing too many things, working too much on versus in. And if you read the book E-Myth, Michael Gerber, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, definitely pick up that book. Not enough time. That is a hallucination. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. Everybody. Who I look up to, there's 3 people that I really, really look up to, and I'm aspiring. You know, Robert Allen obviously was one of them, but there's a few nowadays that I really fire me up. Obviously, Tom Ferry. He has about 40 plus businesses. Tony Robbins. He has another 100 something plus businesses. And that is where I'm going in my career and my trajectory. And they all have the same amount of time. And so do you. Okay. So remember, you do have enough time. Reprioritize. You cannot manage time, but you can certainly reprioritize time to the highest priorities. Like some of you might have even read Traction or Rocket Fuel, and it's all about the rocks. Focus on the rocks, the big stuff. Here's some of the myths, the limiting beliefs that I hear a lot of people talk about: VAs, virtual assistants, or assistants. They will steal my info. I can just do it myself. Most people won't understand them. Their skills are limited. believe it or not, these are a lot of common myths that are not true to some degree. Okay. Number three, yeah, it's a little debatable. And I always, just an FYI on the side, before I onboard anybody, if you're looking to hire a VA, a virtual assistant, I don't care what country, have them record a Zoom video. Hey, part of the interview process, I require everybody to send a small video about themselves. And on that video, I want you to talk to 1 to 2 minutes and tell me about yourself. What do you want me to know about you? And if they don't follow that simple direction, they're not going to the next step of the interview because they cannot follow directions. Number two, I could tell, okay, this person, I will definitely put them on the phone. This person, I will not put them on the phone. Okay. Their skills are limited. Believe it or not, a lot of the folks, especially in the Philippines, the highest income potential is being a virtual assistant. They could go to nursing school or engineering or comp sci, and they'll still make more than as a virtual assistant. So a lot of these folks are very, very, very talented. And I always say, inspect what you expect. So once you onboard them, make sure you test them out. So I gave you a project today. Andre, tell me what did you do? And make them walk through that whole process and make sure they fully understand it. Okay, so these are all myths. When did I first hire? Well, as I mentioned, I've been in real estate a long, long time. My first real estate assistant was part-time in 2000. I was very, very nervous, guys. I was like, man, how am I going to pay her? Am I going to be able to tell her what to do? Am I going to give her enough stuff to do? But I went and did it anyway. My first virtual assistant was way back in 2010. I was part of the craziness when the mortgage meltdown, REOs, short sales. So I tried my first VA in 2010. I hired my first VA media company in 2021 from India. So I've done the gamut. And currently I have 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines. And they've been with me going on 4+ years. And I don't micromanage at all. They're very self-sustained. They communicate via email, on WhatsApp, on Messenger, any way possible. But they know if I need them, I'll reach out, and vice versa. They're very, very, very reliable. When should you hire? This is a big one, folks. Ask yourself, when do you want to level up? Is your pipeline full? Number 3 is a big one. If you hear your clients are starting to complain, that's a clue. Okay. That is a clue that you definitely should hire. Your spouse or kids are complaining that, like, hey, dad, you're not spending enough time with me. Mom, you just missed my volleyball game or whatever. Level of service is slipping. That ties into also number 3, ample reserves. Some of you are ready now. If you have reserves of 6 months or more, and I'm talking, at least at the minimum, the virtual assistant or assistant's wage, take a chance. Nothing venture, nothing gain. This is a business of risk and reward. You went in business to take some risk versus reward. You're sick of tired of being sick and tired. Take a test. This is really, really important. If you really want to scale, you've got to know who you are first. And who knows what DISC is? Tony Robbins DISC, DISC. Yep. See a few hands. If you don't, definitely Google it, look it up. The Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs personality test. These are 3 different tests that if you're not familiar, get familiar if you want to scale. If you're really, really looking to scale, you got to know who yourself is first. Okay. And then hire, I would say, the opposite. Hire the opposite. The DISC test, I'll break it down just a little bit so you'll have a little bit of an understanding. What is your personality? And if you get to know me, you'll realize that I'm a big DI. I'm very dominant when it comes to my business. And obviously, I'm not afraid to get on camera. And if you look at my social media, typically that's an I. They're the life of the party. If the eye, you'll see them multicolored. They're very, very, very talkative. Okay. D, a driver. What's the bottom line? Get to the point, cut to the chase. You're going to hear that a lot about a driver. Okay. And if you're on a presentation and you're just babbling and babbling and babbling, and you hear something like that, you better get to the bottom line. You're not getting that listing, or you're not getting that buyer if you're not reading the person across from you. Steadiness and compliance, the S and the C's, those are the ones that I actually like as my admin. As my admins, those are actually my favorite. Okay. For sales, if you're growing your team and you're looking for a buyer agent, a listing agent to replace you or work with you, you want the D's and I's. Those are the ones I would focus on the most. Okay. S's and C's are perfect assistants. They tend to be supportive, stable, sweet, and shy. They are typically calm, easygoing, and collected people. They like giving support, collaborating, and maintaining stability. The C's, compliant. They like to follow rules. Compliance people produce high quality work that is important to them, and they do not like to make mistakes. They are very detail oriented. One of my best assistants ever, okay, by the name of Beverly. The S's and C's, I'll tell you what, if you're going to interview somebody and they don't look as sharp as you, they're very, very soft spoken. And when you come and shake their hand like this, a good clue, it might be holding a limp fish, a dead fish. That's okay. If their test on a personality test shows up SC and they have that weak handshake, I would not ignore that. If you're looking for an admin, that's a clue. She will blow the doors down, or he will blow the doors down on the admin side. Okay, so I want you to remember that. Just because they're not dressed super sharp, they didn't fix their hair, etc., they might be the SC. Okay, and this is exactly what you need typically on the admin side. Okay, if I want them on the sales side, you better believe I want them polished. Okay, from head to toe, polished shoes, nice watch, fresh shirt, attention to detail, because man, they're going to be in front of clients, closing sales. You want them D's and I's. This is the big one. If two of you are one of the same, one is not needed. Okay, when you're starting to scale and you hire them just because you like them, you're gonna do a whole lot of nothing. Okay, and I mean that kind of a joke, but true. Because if you're a high D, high I, and they're just like you, well, you're missing the SC. That should be a compliment to your business. So remember that. I mean, just because you like them doesn't mean they're a great fit. Okay. Think like a CEO. This one's a big one, folks. Some of you are not thinking like a chief executive officer. You're more thinking of a chief everything officer. If you're going to scale, 2 words: let go. Let go. A lot of people have a hard time letting go. I coach some people right now, been coaching with me a year, 2 years. I was like it. So I could guiltily admit I was a control freak where, I really wanted to control. It had to be my way or the highway. Well, you'll never really start to scale if you're the chief everything officer. Okay. Clarity leads to power. You are the visionary. You got to know the destination. Okay. Everybody else will lead you through the journey, but you got to know at least where you're going. Okay. What's your goal this year? What's your goal in 3 years? What's your goal in 5 years? You got to have that clarity, because clarity leads to power. Do you want to dominate your farm? Do you want to dominate your city, your state? Okay. Remember that. This is a big one here. I highlighted it on purpose. Build a team to the size of your ambition. Bigger does not mean better. Some of those big teams and agents, believe it or not, are not very profitable. They are not. And I want to hold this one up for a while. Okay. Don't let that fool you. As a coach, I'm going to check under the hood. Okay. So if anybody has the luxury of coaching with me, ask anybody. I am digging deep into their P&Ls, their profit and loss on QuickBooks. I want to know their profit margin. I want to know their ROI on expenses, on their Zillow ad, on their realtor.com ad. I want to know, because if it's not making them money, I'm going to get rid of it or ask them to get rid of it. Build a team to the size of your ambition. When you get in real estate, some of you don't have that management experience or background. And so management of people is hard. I get that. Okay. So you want to take some other classes. John Maxwell, read a lot of John Maxwell books on leadership. Read Wooden, read anything on leadership, because that's probably where you're lacking. You got to know how to lead. And some folks, they don't have that skill or develop that skill, and they'll hire, but it's a revolving door and they're losing people on the back end just as quickly as they hire. So that goes back to the clarity. Do you want a SEAL Team 6 model, or do you want to dominate? Do you want to have 10, 20, 50, 100 agents? When I coach anybody, I'm digging deep to figure out what is their skill sets, what's their goal, whatever. And some of you will do totally fine. I'll tell you what, one of the great models that I like is a SEAL Team 6. And the SEAL Team 6 model is one to three agents, and maybe two or three admin. 1 to 3 agents in case you go on vacation, you go sick, you don't feel like working. Well, you have some backup, okay? On the admin, a listing coordinator, a buyer coordinator, an all-in-one coordinator, somebody who's going to do it all, okay? So you really want to find kind of those folks to put on your team immediately, where I would definitely, before you hire a buyer agent or a listing agent, sales agent, hire the admin first. Because if you do the reverse, where you hire a buyer agent or listing agent first, again, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. Now you become an assistant for that buyer agent, listing agent. So I would start with the admin first for sure. Okay.
Hi, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching a recording of the Monday Night Live class. Hope you're getting a lot out of it. I'm sure you will. I wanted to let you know that, you can come to Monday Night Live whenever you want, but you can also participate more with the team. Why don't you set up a call with me, a one-on-one strategy call? I can go over everything with you, show you everything that we have to offer. For example, did you know that on our team, not only do you get your leads, we actually give you your own account on our lead gen system. So this puts you in control. You're not waiting on somebody to hand you leads. You get to pick the ones you want. Okay. Huge difference. We have 21 of our own proprietary marketing campaigns. They're all copyright protected. We're the only ones that can use them. Okay. The coaching is absolutely one-on-one. We got 3 coaches. We even have a 4th success coach that we have access to. Okay. One of left fewer than 100 in the world. Okay. One-on-one coaching. Right now the big problem is volume. We need more transactions. We need more inventory. I get it. Well, we know how to get it. Our team actually outproduces the national average by more than 2 to 1. So if you're struggling, don't do that anymore. If you're a solo agent, if you're a team, let's just talk. Smart entrepreneurs are always open to discussion. Learn what we have to offer, and then you can make an informed decision about staying where you are or moving on. You've got to decide, if you're not where you want to be, you've got to take action to get where you want to be. Let's see how we can help you do that. I look forward to talking to you. Click on the link, set up a call. And by the way, I'll see you on the next Monday Night Live.
Visionary versus integrator. Now, this is taken from the book Traction, and Gino Wickman, who also wrote the book Rocket Fuel. There's actually a test, an app, and you got to figure out where you're scoring on that test, because some of you might think you're a V, you're actually an I. Some of you thinking you're an I, you're actually a V. There's a big difference. Okay, visionary, clarity. You got to know where you're going. Do you see your team, your company big? Are you very crystal clear? Or you're more like an operator, a COO or a VP, or you want to be in second? That's totally okay. Both will make money. You want to make sure, which one are you? Every great visionary has an integrator. Okay, Walt Disney had Roy Disney. Ray Kroc had Fred Turner. Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak. Okay, and the V's were the first ones, Walt, Ray, and Steve, and the I's were Roy, Fred, and Steve. If you really want to build something really big and special, again, figure out, are you the V or you're the I, and go find what you're missing. Okay, who you're missing. What is your time worth? Okay, this is going to get a little heavy. Let me take a quick break, And I'm so glad everybody's still here. Gary, do you want to ask the group or ask or feed into anything I just shared? Because I'm going to get into some other stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a couple of builders on tonight. Um, so I want to call on them. These are agents, Joe, who are building their own models, their own brand, their own team, even sometimes their own training programs. And let's see, Anna's one of them, Anna Galumian. Um, Deb Warner is she's helping. In fact, I probably a month ago I asked Deb or asked an agent to call Deb up in her area in New York to get some immediate help, and she just, I mean, took like if it was the alphabet, all I did was gave her A. She did B through Z on her own, and Henry's on tonight, by the way, Henry Perez. I mean, what a great pair. I mean, their personalities, and that wasn't all preconceived, Joe. That was just like Henry needed some help from somebody in New York, and Deb and I have known each other for a long time, and she's just an absolute A+ wonderful citizen, and she really stepped up to the plate. So we're talking, we are speaking about her future and what she wants to build. Eric Reisner is another one. There's several people on here like, so if you guys want to, I mean, Joe's one of the guys that I know, like, and trust, guys. You want to pick his brain, ask a question, like what was his biggest challenge, for example? What was the pivotal point? What was the pivot point for him? I mean, these are the kind of questions you want to ask guys like Joe.
Yeah. And if
So,
it's a long question, we could save it towards the end because I think I have about a third of the slides to go through. And so, yeah, we could ask a bunch of questions. Again, I coach nationwide, folks. There's people that have been with me up to 11 years of coaching. And so that does say a lot about what I could bring to the table. So, I mean, you've got me here for the next few minutes. Definitely, please take advantage. Okay. So I'm going to start plowing through because it doesn't look like anybody's asked anything on the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and start plowing through and we could save it towards the end. As a real estate agent, ladies and gentlemen, let's just take the average of $10,000 in commissions. One sale, one closing equals about $10,000 in commissions. I want you to write this down and I want you to take your number. What is your average in commissions? What we found out as coaches, mentors, trainers, the average time from cradle to grave, from A to Z, from start to finish, is about 20 hours per closing, average. Some might be longer, some might be shorter. So if you take $10,000 divided by 20, your time is worth about $500 per hour. I want you to remember that. Some of you is probably 1,000. Some of you 1,500 or 2,000. I've done this exercise with many agents throughout the country. Same thing. It's usually about, on the low end, I've seen 300, but God, 1,000, 1,500 or more. An attorney CPA, they're typically making 250 to 500 per hour. You got to ask yourself, why aren't you delegating? Okay. What is your time worth? You can hire a VA, a virtual assistant, for $3 to $9 an hour, believe it or not. And it might be that limiting belief that's holding you back. If you're making $500 an hour, $9 an hour subtracted from that, you still have a $490 profit. I want you to think about that. That's your time trade-off, where you're basically, as you hire VAs, as you hire assistants, as you hire sales assistant, you're simply buying your time back. Okay. Don't be that limiting belief where you could do it all. You're going to really limit yourself. What is your HBUT? Your highest, best use of your time. And this is the one I call the income producing activities: prospecting, lead generation, buyer appointments, seller appointments, writing contracts, negotiating contracts. 70 to 90% of your day, ladies and gentlemen, should be spent right here. I ask my coaching clients all the time, what is your income producing activities? How much time do you spend here? I'll do a time audit, a calendar audit, and I'll know a big part of their problem, why their pipeline isn't full, is usually it's number one. Because if you're not prospecting, you're not getting a buyer appointment, seller appointments, and we're not getting to the bottom of the funnel, which is writing contracts and negotiating contracts. Here are some jobs to delegate. So if you're wondering, what can I delegate? Well, just to give you an idea, here's some of them: admin, TC, transaction coordinating, answering phones, emails, research, marketing, social media, accounting, excuse me, web management, paperwork preparation, DocuSign surveys, ISA client nurturing. Tools to use. You might want to take a snapshot here. These are different things that you could use with virtual assistants. LastPass, RingCentral. I mean, I could go way deep in here, but we'll be here a few hours. These are some of the different things that I know that will help you scale, that will help you as you hire on virtual assistants, or team agents. Other tools, systems. Calendly. If you're not on Calendly, get on it right away. If you're not using Loom or Zoom, so obviously a lot of you are, this is a great way to train. One of the big tips that I would say as you're onboarding virtual assistants or assistants, late at night, early in the morning, when that person's off shift and you get this great idea, like, oh my God, I've got to delegate this task, jump on camera right away and record, screen share. After you do it, type it up on an email. So you've got the video, you shared the screen, you typed it on email, and then here you go, assistant, make sure you follow these steps because I want this done by tomorrow. Zoom and Loom is amazing. A great way to do it. YouTube, if you put it on private, where you don't share that video, you could share it with your assistants, your VA, your sales agents, what have you. You could keep it on private. Nobody could see it. And you could give the links. There's your training for your team or your admin. Salesforce, QuickBooks, Rent Software. Rent Software is if you're doing property management. QuickBooks, I mentioned earlier. Pay attention to your P&Ls, your profit and loss, and your balance sheet. Know how much your business valuation is worth. In business, we typically call that EBITDA, and also know how much your business is worth, because some of you might build your business very, very big. And I have helped several people exit and sell their company, their team for large amounts of money. And so if you've got your QuickBooks, your P&Ls dialed in very, very well, you could have that as your potential retirement and nest egg in the future. So keep that in mind. System stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Remember that. You've got to create systems, checklists, SOP, standard operating procedures, because if you're in your head, you're dead. If you're the only one that knows the process of taking a listing, putting it on social media, whatever, what if you're hospitalized? What if you go on vacation? So start creating SOPs, standard operating procedures for yourself, checklists. Those all fits into system. If you're in your head, again, you're dead. Okay, take it out, capture it, put it on paper, put it on Monday, Asana, one of those different systems, Trello, where you could really help your team and help yourself scale and use a system. Growth versus fixed mindset. This is a great book. If you're really looking to scale, get this book, read lots of books. The concept of growth and fixed mindset was coined by Carol Dweck in her 2006 book, Mindset. Your options. You could either keep up with the insanity, right? Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That's insanity. Okay. Or you could go to Fiverr, you could go to Upwork, or you could go to VA Jobs Online or hire a VA company. These are all four very, very doable, viable options for you to outsource some of this work that you're wasting a lot of time on. And so I would write this down. This one's a big one to help you scale. Fiverr. Fiverr is more like graphics arts, one-off jobs. You want to create a logo, you want to create a mailer, you really small, quick, and easy jobs. I recorded a voiceover. I hired somebody on Fiverr, and my podcast. I found somebody on Fiverr. Data mining, organizing, graphic design, flyers. That's mainly Fiverr. Upwork, they're more technical and they're probably more expensive. So it goes hand in hand. And I would look at Upwork if you're looking for somebody to do website design, deal underwriting analytics, telemarketing, executive assistant. They're vetted out very, very good, as well as Fiverr. So I would look, if I were hiring on Upwork, I would look at income earned, how many jobs completed, kind of like a Yelp review, but these are consumers that hired somebody on Upwork. Look at how much they earned, hopefully a lot, and hopefully jobs completed. Those are the two big ones. Okay. And I won't even consider them if they're just starting out, because you're really rolling the dice. I don't want to be the guinea pig. Okay. Cut out the middleman. If you want to cut out the middleman, you want to cut out Fiverr or Upwork or any one of those companies, go to some of these other ones, done for you or do it yourself. Done for you or do it yourself. VA Jobs Online is a great way to go. Any and all of the above. One thing about these freelancers, if you go to them direct, labor law, that's out of the question pretty much. They're usually in a different company. On this one, they're specifically Philippines. Termination, tax liabilities, it's mitigated big time. Okay, so if you're really concerned about labor law, tax issues, hiring, firing, getting nailed for wrongful termination, this really mitigates the risk, because usually when they're thousands of miles away, the possibility of something like that happening is impossible. Okay. And this is why I really, really love this site the most. I've hired so many people from this website. Hire your virtual assistant, join now, level up, vajobsonline.com. That again, you're dealing with the freelancer direct. There is no middleman. There is no buffer. And read very, very carefully some of the reviews, some of the information, look at their ID score, because you want to use some common sense. I've spoken to a lot of people and I made them jump through hoops. I'll make them book on Calendly. I'll make them send me a Loom video. I'll make them do a lot of things before I actually meet with them, because if they can't follow some of these simple steps that I threw out, I don't want to waste my time. And so you want to make sure you have a vetting out process or checklist to help you screen out people so you don't waste time. I mean, I've had some clients get it right on the first time, especially after I shared a lot of the things I just shared with you. Hey, coach, I got myself my virtual assistant and they're working out perfectly. And when you hire them direct, again, no middleman, because if you hire with a VA company, typically they're going to charge you, let's just say $1,500, $2,000. Half of that or more, guess goes where? To the VA company. Okay, that is what they get for vetting out, making it easier, training, helping you level up. Now, there's some good ones, there's some terrible ones out there, but that is what you're paying for to hopefully, excuse me, have somebody good to join your team. But if you're doing it direct, like this website here, there is a big ramp up period for some of you. For some of you, you might hate the process and say, like, forget it. I'm going to hire a VA company or Upwork or Fiverr. That's okay too. There is no like right or wrong way. Just pick the way that you want to try out and go for it. Okay. With the virtual assistants on this website, I knew I was going to scale. I knew I was planning to go way bigger and do a lot more things. And I wanted to reduce my cost and risk and exposure. And that's why I use this company. But again, if you saw that other slide, I hired my first virtual assistant 2010. So that was 14 years ago. Here's some of the lessons I learned about hiring. Slow to hire, quick to fire. Some of you need to write that down. Slow to hire, quick to fire. Again, it'll cost you less money if you make that decision to let this person go. You can let them go on the first day, in the first week, first month. If you don't feel like it's a fit, let them go. Hey, sorry, this isn't working out. I wish you the best. Okay, you don't have to put so much drama to it. Just go ahead and let them go. Invest 1 hour of power daily. If you really, really want to scale, that will keep your pipeline full. Some of you know from Tom Ferry or others, 5542. Call 5 people you know every single day, 5 people you don't know, 4 lead follow-up, 2 social media posts a day. That's your 1 hour of power. Do that every single day. You're going to be fine. Your business is going to keep going. 5 people you know, 5 people you don't know. Again, I mentioned distressed property, expireds, for sale by owners. Those are people you don't know. 4 lead follow-ups. You probably had some follow-ups from your open houses or some of your marketing. Hey, do you want to buy and sell? When do you want to look at property? Hey, are you ready to put your home on the market? Did you already fix your yard or whatever? And then 2 social media posts. Trust the process. I'm a big believer, faith over fear. Faith over fear. Okay. Some of you need to live more in faith than fear. Okay. False evidence appearing real. Some of you are probably pretty religious. You know the difference. Okay. Lead in faith, not fear. Trust the process. Okay. No pressure, no diamond. You got to put yourself under tremendous amounts of pressure sometimes, especially in real estate. That's how you're going to get to the next level. Eliminate limiting beliefs. I say eliminate your BS, right? Belief system. Some of you use the other BS, but that's okay too. But it's limiting beliefs. It's that little voice talking in your head. Okay. There's a book, I didn't write it down, but I'll give it to you now. Mel Robbins, The 5-Second Rule. If some of you are so high analytical, paralysis by analysis, buy that book. Mel Robbins, 5-Second Rule. Okay. Create a SOP for everything, a standard operating procedures for everything. That's what we went over just a second ago. Interview tips. I mentioned this. Send a video, audio on recordings before you actually meet with them. Okay. Did they follow directions? What was their response time on their email, on getting on the phone, on callbacks, etc.? How is their internet connection? Folks, this one's a big one. Okay. Because this one, man, if you're sensing on the first interview, they have spotty internet, I'm already backpedaling. Because if they're already displaying that their internet connection is terrible on their interview, how much more when they're by themselves? Okay. So make sure their internet connection is solid. Do you have a backup battery? What kind of computer? What's the speed? Ask them on the interview. And remember this, if you're hiring in the Philippines, they do go through typhoons. They do have no electricity sometimes. That is so true. Okay. And they're not fibbing. They are telling the truth. So pay attention, jump on the news, see what's going on, because that could be something that might not allow them to do their work. How's their technology? How's their camera? If you're making them do phone work, right? You're doing outbound or inbound calls. How is their technology, their camera? If you really promote them to be a trainer in your team and lead the admin, lead the sales, make sure they know how to use Zoom and multitask and etc. Education mitigates risk and eliminates fear. Okay, educate yourself big time on all these things that I just shared. As I mentioned, I burned through a lot today. There was so much information here to help you scale. If not now, when? If not this, then what? How much more lost time with the kiddos and spouse significant other? Okay, everybody has the same amount of time. And where are you putting your time? Kids will never care how much you made. If you have a child or children, when they grow up, they won't really remember how much you made. They will remember how much time you spent with them and how did you make them feel. Were you at the softball game, the baseball game, at practice? Okay, this is important, ladies and gentlemen. Leverage OPT, other people's time and talent. That is a big, big deal. We're coming to the end, and I'm so grateful for all of you sticking around. Here's some other websites where you might want to use to hire. Believe it or not, people are still on Craigslist, Monster, Indeed, Wise Hire. Remember, CEO, if you really, really want to scale, these are the folks that you want in the mix. CTO, CMO, COO, CFO. Most people know what those are. Who knows what number 5 is? That's probably a tough one for some.
I'm going to
Who
guess
knows what that
AI
is?
executive, something like that.
Evangelist, expert.
Ah,
Okay. You want somebody who really understands artificial intelligence, because I'll tell you what, some of you could eliminate having a VA or assistant. There was one job I needed done the other day. I had this document that I wanted to organize the emails and people, and I was like, Chat GPT, I need this on a Excel CSV file, blah, 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 type. Boom. Okay, now how do I upload it, ChatGPT? And they gave me the directions and boom. I could have delegated to an assistant, but that took me minutes. Okay, so you will need a chief technology officer, a chief marketing officer, a chief operations officer, a chief financial officer, an artificial intelligence evangelist or expert, and you could explode. If you really want a big team, a big company, I want you to think, okay, I'm in the middle, I'm the nucleus. Who else do I need here? Think like this. This is the numbers in simple way. Some of you are just getting started on a team. You are the CEO. You're the brainchild. You're the visionary. You have all these wonderful ideas. The backbone is your admin. You don't have a backbone, you don't have a company. Okay. So you need your admin, your arms, your legs. Those are your sales force. They're an extension of you. They're a reflection of you. Make sure backbone, arms, leg. And then this is a complete team. Again, I would recommend maybe 1 to 3 sales, 1 to 3 admin. Do a SEAL Team 6. That's pretty solid team already. This book here, MREA book, build it to the 7th level. Your business is fully automated and grows despite you. I went to the Philippines back in 2007. The hardest thing I had to do was cash checks. When I came back after 3 weeks of not answering my phone, not answering my email, the hardest thing I had to do was figure out, okay, I'm going to go to this bank, cash the checks. That was the hardest thing. My team grew without me. That's when you know you arrived in your business. Here are some other recommended books. I mentioned some earlier, E-Myth, Traction, MREA. This book here is probably one of my favorites right now, 4-Hour Workweek. Okay. I'm really concentrating on 4 hours of work week. And how do you really accomplish that? I'm going to show you if I haven't shown you already. All those slides were a good way to do it. Ask yourself daily, is this something I hate? Could this be something I can delegate? Is this something I hate, or this could be something I can delegate? Ask yourself that. Okay. A lot of you probably have seen this, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and you're still thinking ES. What is ES? Who knows what ES is? Go for it, Gary.
That's the employee and self-employed side of the cash flow quadrant.
Right, right. So you're trading time for dollars. Time for dollars. Some of you had a regular job, got into real estate, became an agent, self-employed. You wanted to, like, nobody put a value of your time, so you work harder, you sell more houses, you became self-employed. Yeah. The only challenge is there's only 24 hours in a day. It's going to get dark. Okay. And so you want to start moving to the BI quadrant, which I am moving heavily. I love to coach. So yes, that's self-employed, but it's a passion. Okay. I love doing this. This is a passion. I love giving back. That's okay. What you really want to do is get into the business owner and investor quadrant, business owner mindset, investor mindset, which Gary is so passionate about as well. That's why he has this group. So we both want you here. Need one-on-one time. We're wrapping it up here. Call. I'd love to speak at your next meeting, next event, thinking about investing, exploring coaching, got a deal, not sure, ready to level up. Feel free to reach out to me. Again, you could reach me via Instagram. This one, the Commercial Real Estate Investor Club, this is a big passion for sure. This is my passion project. YouTube, there's my information here. And one of the things I'll show you real quick, and then we could start to kind of wrap it up. And feel free, like I said, to ask me anything, everything you want while I'm here. And I'm going to just show you real quick a couple different things. Gary was very nice for me to share. This is criclive.com. We've had a couple different events here. There's a video. Again, there's my friend Robert Allen. That's a video about my club. We're also on Facebook. I don't know if you could still see it, but Commercial Real Estate Investor Club. This is a big passion. I've learned a lot in my investing career, and I also want to share it in that group. And this is super amazing because I still see the same amount of people on here. And let's go fire away, Gary.
Well, the Commercial Real Estate Investment Club how does that work? Is it open to the public? Is it application process, a fee? I mean, we have a commercial mastermind on the team that's very informal, and it's going through changes because EXP commercial now is just evolving, and they're entertaining hybrid teams and brokerages, and we're a hybrid team. We were the first one actually, as far as I can tell, before even commercial was launched. But we're always looking for something like that, Joe. If you don't mind sharing a little on that, you know.
Absolutely. So the Commercial Real Estate Investor Club is an idea that I invented about 2 years ago in my head. And basically, what I noticed was there's specialties in shopping centers and multifamily and land and all these different groups. I pictured where it's all commercial real estate investor club because some of people want retail or multifamily, and this will be a hub which is actually live now. We're having events. We're hosting. If you're in San Diego, you're more than welcome. Again, go on that website, and I'm usually the one speaking, sharing about investments and being a commercial broker and commercial lending, and I'm just adding value, adding value, adding value. And we're having monthly events. We actually had two last week. One was in San Diego and one was up in Riverside County. And I'm planning to take this nationwide. And so I'm looking for other leaders that might want to start to open up their market center, their marketplace, and do the same. The secret to living is giving. And so I basically want to form this hub of a place where we could do deals, we could share ideas, we could network, we could learn from each other, and it's free. Right now it's free, but as we start to do bigger conventions, there will definitely be a cost. We haven't solidified the cost yet, the investment, but I'll tell you what, if you go on Facebook, if you go on YouTube, if you follow on Instagram, we've launched. It's an official entity that we've got some CCIM certified commercial investment members. We have some very strong lenders. We have some strong sponsors. So it's almost 300 people strong, not right now in the Facebook group. And then the attendance has been anywhere from like on the low end, maybe a dozen, on the high end, about 60 people at our live event. And so it's a mix of live events and also online. And so anybody's more than welcome. Ask to join the group, just answer a few questions and you'll be in. But like I said, in the future, we will be charging because there's no way to really scale it unless we start hiring other people, building other systems, what have you. But we don't want to limit anybody from joining, especially right now. So the best time to join is right now.
Yeah, there's a couple of people here tonight I think should definitely entertain that. Um, there's a lot that are, we generally get about a third of the people on the team here. And there's others that I think would definitely be interested in it. So they'll all get the recording tomorrow. And couple of things, guys. If you have questions, don't be. This is unusual, Joe, because usually the questions come in, especially at the. Always wait to the end, But one thing I want to bring up from the first part of the class, guys, is Joe was making this statement that you want to work with people who need to sell as opposed to people who just simply are thinking about or wanting to sell. And you got an amazing tool at your disposal, the Really Flow system, that helps you identify people who are behind on property taxes, right? They've owned the property 25 years or more. They're an investor property and they've got vacancies. I mean, as well as the usual, we call them suspects, bankruptcy, foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, probate, all that's on there. But some of these other combinations of criteria allow you to unearth listings where other people aren't looking. Everybody's looking for pre-foreclosure and probate and all that, and divorce. I've done it too. But if you find somebody that's owned a property 25 years or more, no longer has debt, they don't have a mortgage, and yet they can't pay their property taxes, there's a story there. You need to send them a letter and call them. Okay, get yourself some listings. Hey, Joe, I want to ask you too, as far as your expansion plans in the future, when you and I spoke back a month or so ago, I think you mentioned Chicago. Was that another site for the commercial mastermind or the commercial club? I can't remember what the context was. I apologize, but
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So I am all about acquiring assets, business and investments. Okay, so recently I actually acquired a franchise, and I will be in Chicago for training. It's another business I'm adding to my portfolio. So I'm looking for businesses, buildings. That's what I'm looking to add to my portfolio, and I'll be in Chicago um, September. So if anybody's in Chicago, I'd love to connect with you. Private message me. I'm traveling usually like 4 to 6 times a year throughout the country. Next month, if some of you are familiar with Tom Ferry, I will be at his events in Dallas, Texas, and I'd love to see any one of you if you're going to be out there. But I love to travel. I always love learning, again, to add value, to sharpen up my skills and bring more to the table and make me a better investor, better leader, better mentor, etc.
okay. Um, I keep going back to the Commercial Investor Club too, guys, and I'm like, there's a few people here. Mike McGrann's one of them. He's in College Station, Texas, uh, huge college town. Got kind of north of Houston, about an hour or so. But would that be an area for a commercial club satellite there? I mean, Houston's a little bit far from Mike, but I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the town. It's. I mean, would sort of area that size be a good candidate? Do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm looking for people that really are open to leading, that are
Hmm.
very good-hearted, that have the right mindset, and reach out to me, DM me, talk to me one-on-one. I'll make sure it's a fit for both of us. This is unpaid, so it's one of these things where you got to have a heart of gold and super thick skin, because I'm looking for people that really want to add value. And it's not just for them. It's not just about them. It's about serving others and bringing value to the table. And I'm open to going to College Station or any parts of the country or even world, that people that want to just serve, because I'm a big believer. Again, you give out more and more in some way,
Yeah,
shape, or form. I guarantee you're going to get blessed, not just
it does. Yeah.
financially, but relationships. Okay. All these other magical things, or whatever you want to believe in, universe, God, whatever, you're going to get blessed back. You
Hmm.
and the exact opposite, if your vibration is really bad and you're very short with people, you're throwing out that kind of vibe, well, guess what you're going to keep getting more of,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So keep putting out the
yeah,
good vibes, the good
yeah.
energy, and I
Um,
guarantee you're going to get it back.
yeah. Hey, that's so true. I mean, that's been the story of my adult life, at least the second half. When I left the corporate world, it was all about teaching and helping others learn how to invest. That's how it all started. And here it is later, and it really is coming back in buckloads. And I do have something to ask you too, Joe. I can't help it because I am the team leader here, and I want to ask you. We have a couple of agents here, Lisa and Sally in particular, are working on a pretty sizable deal down in Costa Rica. 35 parcels. It's a 75-acre plot that's been pinned, lines drawn, road going to it, utilities going to it, and potentially another one next year. You know, anybody that's interested in investing in a ocean view property, right, in Costa Rica at a really good price too, right, guys? Is it priced right, Lisa and Sally? I don't know for a fact, but they're shaking their heads yes. So if you know anybody that looks at like loves that market, I mean, it's a lot of expats are down there, you know.
Hmm.
I think Sally was about to talk. I think she's going to take herself off mute.
Thanks, Gary. So, yes, we just got a plat in from the engineer, and we also have a 20-acre hotel site that is platted off, Ocean View, of course. With Gary, I think we're going to have like 49 home sites behind it.
Wow.
So we just got that in this afternoon. It's probably in your email. So, yeah,
Okay.
we would appreciate any help, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Send me the information. I'll take a look and put it out there. And that's part of the club too. So like, yeah, haves and wants. We have an opportunity for people to bring the deals to the different live events or online. And yeah, we talk about the deal. And if you had a slide deck offering memorandum of everything, why you like it and what makes it attractive. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you figure that out. If you're going to start talking about bigger deals, you want a slide deck. We typically call that a offering memorandum, and you want to put up like, okay, in 5-year pro forma or 10 years, this is where we could see your money could have like a 2x multiple. Okay. And it's nice to talk about it, but if you have a slide deck and offering memorandum fully explaining, like, I got it here, and this is why we're going to be able to do it because the rents are super low, or this is a value add, we're going to do it. And for land, it's typically, okay, this is the path of progress. We see the population going up. This is why we feel it's a great deal, blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure you have that slide deck or offering memorandum put together very, very well, because that's how you're going to be able to raise capital. And a good way too is, like, you don't know who other people know. And this is, no offense to anybody, but I've always said, like, as far as, this goes back to kind of recruiting, and it goes back to anything actually, like raising capital or growing the team. Every dud knows a stud. Every dud knows a stud. Don't ever, ever, ever prejudge anybody. And I mean that sincerely. You cannot judge a book by its cover, because you don't know who they know. And they might be dressing like that on purpose. Okay. So when you're raising capital, get out there. When I'm out there, I'm putting on 2 thinking caps or 2 antennas, deals and dollars, deals and dollars. Okay. Where does this person fit into the strategy I'm looking to create or do or whatever? Okay. And so you always, whenever you go to a networking group, a BNI or whatever, what's your outcome? What's your intention? And I like the way Sally was, you could tell by her voice, you got about your project. All right. I think somebody was, nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sally and Lisa, let's make sure I have a call on Wednesday if we could. Let's just message each other tomorrow and figure it out, because Joe just gave me a great idea, which is so Lisa's a luxury, so we have a great luxury package we're working on for the land, but also to attract a builder who may want to buy the whole thing, we do need a private offering memorandum. So we can create that through like RPR commercial, or Dana is on commercial. We could use his build out to do that. So yeah, we'll hit it both ways, both angles.
If you're going for land, ladies and gentlemen, make sure it is in the path of progress. Okay. It's nice to do some land banking, because I know somebody right in my backyard, one of my professors in college, he bought like 10,000 square foot lot, and it was in the right spot. He bought it for like $100,000, and like 15 years later sold it for over $1 million. And he was just land banking, right? And so you want to make sure that this dirt could be utilized properly, and it's not where population is leaving. So really do your due diligence when you're studying and looking at land, looking at assets, do your underwriting like crazy, because that could burn you if you're not doing the right things. And then I would say, like, one of the reasons why I like existing businesses and other assets that I mentioned, multifamily, storage, I like existing cash flow, because if you see that there's a potential value add, meaning it's mom and pop operated, self-managed, shoebox accounting, I'm using all these different terms that you should really make sure you wrap your head around. That's a value add, where, like, get professional management, run the P&Ls, make sure the monumental sign outside is solid, curb appeal. Then you could raise the rents, and we call that forced appreciation. And so when you start getting into investing, which I mentioned in your real estate career, that's one of the last, or on your journey, you should be acquiring assets. I'll tell you what, you create enough passive income in your life, you don't have to work. Okay. You're going to have a lot more choices. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to show something real quick.
Mhm.
Like, let's just say this is like, X amount, $5 million or $10 million. And this is, a few hundred, a few thousand. If you're just sitting on 5 million, $10 million, if you start pouring it out, what happens to this, your asset? It
Yeah.
disappears to nothing,
Mhm.
right? And this is why you want to pour. Some of you are with EXP, some of you are investing in property. If you keep pouring 100, 1,000, 2,000, what happens to your $5 to $10 million?
Gross.
It grows. Yeah, it grows and multiplies. So don't get
Mhm.
so fixated on your net worth. Don't get so fixated on a $10,000, $20,000 check. I want you to focus on passive income because, again, that's time freedom. That's financial freedom. That'll give you that room to travel. So make sure you concentrate on passive, not this is a big paychecks or those home runs, grand slams on these deals create passive income. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Anybody else? 4 hours from Detroit. Love to see you. Come on over, Sam. Send me a DM. Henry, thanks for your message. Anybody
Yeah.
else? Please utilize this time while I'm here. And if you want to talk offline, I'm certainly open to doing that as well. Could we give Gary a big round of applause? I mean, really.
Mhm.
I mean, he has a heart of gold, guys. A heart of gold. I mean, to do something like this, I mean, this is exactly like Robert Allen. I mean, this is Robert Allen in our corner right now. So Gary's an
Yeah.
amazing person, amazing individual to get you guys all rallied up together. I mean, now it's your turn. Take that message and make a rippling effect elsewhere to your friends, your family, elsewhere. Okay, that's what me and Gary's about. Is like, yeah, sending that energy,
Mhm.
that love, that education.
It is.
You're
It's
welcome.
it's very fulfilling. I mean, I years ago I couldn't make a connection. And I would listen to guys like Zig Ziglar and think, how could you possibly become wealthier by giving everything away? But that's you're missing the message. What it is give of yourself. The best thing you can give another human being is your time, yourself and your time. Give that, and it will absolutely come back and bless you in many ways for many years. I'm telling you, I could go on and on, but I'll just tell you one thing. Last year, Joe, I had four people reach out to me, students from 20 or more years ago, just out of the blue. It's crazy. Like one guy I ran into an elevator in Tampa, Florida. I was speaking at a Tampa club down there, getting an elevator, and he said, "Hey, Gary." And I recognized him, I couldn't remember his name. Matt Smith's his name, but he said, I haven't seen you in a long time. I just want to tell you how I'm doing. Well, how you doing? And he said, well, I'm retired. And I said, you can't be more than 40. He said, no, I'm not. I'm only 38. And I said, well, how'd you do it? He said, I did exactly what you told me. I bought 20 single family homes. They're all paid for. And now I don't work. I said, what do you do? And he said, I golf. I golf. Anyway, so that's one. The second guy pulled up a flyer from a flip I helped him do. It was the first $1 million flip he had done. And oddly enough, one of my assistants found the flyer the day before. And I'm thinking to myself, I got to call Joe. And Joe actually spoke to our group, by the way, 2 years ago. Joe Chawanski. Joe called me the next day. It was the craziest thing. And then two other people just, it comes back in ways you can't anticipate or predict. I didn't want anything from these guys. We ended up all meeting at different times for dinner, shooting the breeze. We were like good buddies, and it all started from this. And I can tell you that I'll leave you with this. One of my oldest, best clients told me this. So I'll tell you where you know him from. His father built the Athlete's Foot shoe company. He ended up selling it to French investors and became the Athletic Addict out of Atlanta. Well, his son was a franchisor. He built 650 franchises worldwide. He was my client. And I helped him make so much money in real estate. He took my brother and me skiing with him to Vail, Colorado, on his private estate right there on the mountain for a week, fully, totally paid for. Okay.
Wow.
And he told me that night, one of the nights we were having dinner, first night we were there, he said, I made more friends out of business than I ever got business from friends. And he said, you'll see the same thing, Wilson. It's just going to take some time. That's exactly what has happened. like meeting you, Joe. It's just the whole networking thing you mentioned early on. I can't even begin how could you put a price tag on that? It's invaluable. The networking that I've been blessed to be part of and grow and develop over the years. I mean, it actually has served me in personal ways too, beyond imagination. Not just all business. It's a great community, and I want you guys listening here and watching. I want you to enjoy it too. I'm just a regular guy. Some of you have known me a long time, and I don't flaunt it. I don't drive a Ferrari, and I used to enjoy that stuff. Doesn't matter anymore, right? What matters is the relationships and experiences. I want you to have the same thing. And all you got to do is follow what Joe showed you tonight. Joe, that was a gold mine. That was an actual blueprint, is what it was. And actually, somebody asked if you could share that. I don't know if you could share the slides. We could probably get it in the email that goes out tomorrow. But that was, guys, that's the actual blueprint. The steps and the pieces and the parts. It's all in there. All you got to do is start unpacking it. You know. So,
Yeah,
Joe, I'll
shoot
let you
me,
have the
shoot me a
final word, man.
text.
You know.
Yeah, please shoot me a text and email. Go ahead and send over those slides. Be happy to send that. And yeah, no, I really, really appreciate the opportunity, Gary. Hopefully, I impacted some of you. And like I said, the secret to living is giving. So take whatever I had to share with others. Bless your family, bless your friends, your family, your loved ones, everybody. I mean, there's a lot to go around. You have the abundance mindset, you'll get more. You have the scarcity mindset, you'll get more of that. So yeah, thank you so much, Gary. And thank you, each and every one of you, for allowing me to share.
Thank you.
You got it, Joe. Thanks, Joe. And everybody, just a reminder: this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to Quebec to be with Dana Truman, my sponsor, and his son for the Quebec New France Festival every year. So I'll be up there. I will have the phone. You can call me if you're stuck on something or any scheduled appointments. But again, Lisa and Sally, we on the road, we definitely got to talk on Wednesday, and then set up your one-on-ones, guys. I'll see you next Monday. Krista is going to be teaching. Um, Christy, that's Gina's friend. I had her on the podcast too, and you're going to like that one too. So see you next Monday. Next Wednesday, right? Not this Wednesday, but the 7th is. I'm sorry. 2 weeks later is the GIE monthly team call. That's just people on the team. In any case, enough of that for tonight. Joe, thanks again, man. God bless you and all your loved ones and everybody here. God bless you and all your loved ones. And I will see you on the one-on-ones, and I'll see you Monday Night Live next week.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.